Hey guys, this is Dylan. I'm here for Broken Pictures. That website is www.broken.pictures. Thanks for tuning in. So on this video, I want to get into a couple theories about Westworld Season 2. I got about 3 theories. These are a couple of theories that are floating around in the fan base that are really intriguing, and I just wanted to share them with you. And kind of maybe put a little bit of my own input into it as well. So, Abernathy. If you remember from Season 1, Charlotte downloaded the entire park history, 35 years worth of information into Abernathy. And that light bulb LED-shaped brain of his that we saw examples of in episode 1. So that little thing is holding all this information, 35 years of information. That also includes all the host's memories. So this theory goes that potentially, because the actor that plays Abernathy has been upgraded from Season 1, now in Season 2, he's a season regular. So we're going to be seeing a lot more of Abernathy. If he's got all of those hosts' memories, what could that do to him if he gets off track or if he gains consciousness himself? Because he's lost right now. They don't know where he is, if he's left the park or if he's somewhere else. And remember, he was also these different characters, kind of like Dolores was, the rancher's daughter. Of course, he's the rancher. Sweet dad character. But also, there's a dark side, whereas, Dolores was Wyatt, Abernathy was a cult leader. And we saw a little bit of his creepiness last season where he was talking to Ford and Bernard and told him, that he was coming for both of them or something like that. And Ford said that that was just some of his storyline that kind of stuck from Revelries. So if he's having flashbacks and he's having the same type of issues that Bernard is having and Dolores are having, where their personalities are at odds with each other and they're trying to get on top and become themselves, where is he going to land with these two characters? Not only with these two characters, but all of the host's memories. So that almost, with all this information floating around inside his head, that almost makes him like a godlike character, where he's practically omniscient. He could be the savior of all the hosts, or he could be their doom if they find him and are able to use this against him. And we know from Season 1, or Episode 1 rather, that because of the 2 weeks later timeline where they find Bernard on the beach and say that it's been 2 weeks since the incident, that since we see the rescue team there, and earlier in the timeline, or earlier in a different timeline with Charlotte, we see Delos tell her that there will be no extraction until they get their product. So sometime in between there, either something happened where they decided to send the team in, or they received Abernathy or his brain, all that information. They got their info. So what do you guys think has happened in between those two timelines with Abernathy? What do you think he's going to play out to be? That's kind of fun to think about and get into. So comment right below what you guys think. Let us know. I love to talk about these theories. The second one, Dolores. So we get a glimpse of what looks like a modern time, or possibly a futuristic time, with Dolores. We've got the Ben Barnes character, and we get a glimpse of Arnold or Bernard. So is this potentially future world, which could be another park inside of Delos land, or is this outside the park? This theory says that potentially this is a flashback, and Dolores is based on somebody that they knew before the park, before Westworld became a thing, and that's that's potentially why Bernard is so close with Dolores, because they've already established that Bernard can cheat on his wife. So could Arnold have cheated on his wife with the lady that Dolores is patterned after the death of his son? Just dealing with that or whatever. Cheated on his wife with this Dolores character, and then when he got to the park, created that, and then Ford kept her around and just kind of rub his nose in it or something like that. And because we can see there's one scene from last season.
Are we very old friends?
No. I wouldn't say friends, Dolores. I wouldn't say that at all.
So there's something more there. So this could potentially be an interesting plot point if Dolores was actually built based on another character, kind of like how Bernard was created in the likeness of Arnold. So it's very interesting. And that also gets into the third one. Could it be, since Ford has seen or actually created Bernard in the likeness of Arnold, and then potentially Dolores in the likeness of this other lady they knew, could it be that now, based on some of the things he said last season about evolution having run its course?
But of course, we've managed to slip evolution's leash now, haven't we? We can cure any disease, keep even the weakest of us alive, and one fine day, perhaps we shall even resurrect the dead, call forth Lazarus from his cave.
And he's now an old man, and he's finished his life. And could it be that he's going to download his consciousness into a host and become a host and lead the hosts? That might seem a little far-fetched. However, we saw that when Charlotte brought Bernard to the secret bunker, that he had Arnold's DNA in him, but in his body. Like he's basically Arnold for all intents and purposes. And he was able to unlock the door. And then he saw that the park is gathering DNA of guests. So could that be the secret plan that Delos, or the secret thing that Delos is up to behind the scenes, where they're trying to get all this information, trying to get Charlotte to get them all this information so that they can offer immortality to the guests, and potentially Ford having Dolores kill him in the same way that Bernard or Arnold did, and his speech right before that, he said,
Mozart, Beethoven, and Chopin never died. They simply became music. So I hope you will enjoy this last piece very much.
And so it's very interesting. He could potentially had said, hey, I'm at the end of this human body. It's time to take on another form and just live forever. But, I mean, we see that the young host that the man in black killed, I don't think that's the host that he's downloaded his consciousness into. It could potentially be some of the issues that Bernard is having, that possibly some of Ford's consciousness is in there, or potentially inside of Dolores herself. That's why she's experiencing some issues. I don't think so, but that it's a possibility. I think potentially that he has that we'll see sometime later in this season Ford reappear in a different body. And one of the theory originally said that that the body that Ford had in season 1 was a host, because we also saw him making hosts off the grid in one of his secret bunkers, where Bernard's lover found the blueprints for Bernard himself, and he looked at it and this doesn't look like anything to me. So we saw that he was making hosts off the grid. Could he potentially have been forming his future body at that time? I think very likely. It's very possible. Why would this old man that has a God complex suddenly just give up on life? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, especially when he's got all of this at his disposal. So, what do you guys think? Sorry. Nail in the coffin for the theory that he was already a host, because in episode 1 we saw his body. So, being eaten by maggots and whatnot. So that was obviously his real body that died, but he might have had a plan B. What do you guys think of all these 3 theories? Let me know. Let's get talking. Let's discuss it. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.